Hi guys, and welcome to this edition of Phyrefli's Video Digest. As always, thank you very much for watching. Now, rather than doing this particular digest to camera, I figured it would be a bit more interesting to use a little bit of gameplay. So what I've done is started this one halfway through the game. And the reason for that is because the first half of this game I played in a deliberately methodical way. So, not rushing in like I normally do, not running around like I normally do, but being steady, methodical, picking off individuals, and as a result of that I ended up with, a nice juicy KD. But I also ended up with some very boring gameplay. So I've deliberately taken that off the start of this video and plonked it right in the middle. As you can see, our team is not doing very well at this point. However, we do make quite a good comeback, so once I've finished talking, if you've got the time, please do watch the rest of this video. It does end up being a very nice tight game towards the end. So what I wanted to talk about in this digest are my hopes and expectations for DICE's upcoming Battlefield 4. The hopes are many and varied, I guess, like a lot of people have for a new game in this well-known and very beloved franchise. If you've ever watched any of the earlier digests, you'll know that I'm a veteran player. I played in 1942, BF2, but my all-time favourite Battlefield game, and quite possibly the game I spent the most time playing, is 2142. For that, to me, is the epitome of the Battlefield experience. You've got large sandbox environments, you've got teammates with the tools to work together, although honestly they don't always work together. You've got vehicles working with the commander, you've got 6-man squads, you've got all of this working together in a seamless whole that just provides you with an experience which, to me, hasn't been matched since then, and certainly wasn't matched with Battlefield 3. Battlefield 3 has a lot of strengths, but unfortunately to me it's never had that full Battlefield feel to it. So one of the first things that I'm hoping for with Battlefield 4 is support with esports. Now, I know very much that this is something that Daniel Matros has very close to his heart, and you may remember the infamous tweet from before BF3 came out that esports was something which was central to DICE's methodology with Battlefield 3. That never came to fruition, obviously. So it's possible that we may see, and I certainly hope, that we'll see a return of that in Battlefield 4. It's something which the game could really benefit from. A couple of weekends ago, I spent the weekend playing, of all things, Black Ops 2 because it was on a free Steam weekend. Well, what the hey, I'm not paying for the game, I'll give it a try, see what the whole hullabaloo's about. And there's many things you can say about Black Ops 2, positive, negative, mostly negative I suppose. But the one area where it shines is in its support of esports, COD TV for example, but also in its demo recording. I was frankly astounded by the quality and ease of use of its demo function. In fact, I didn't even realise every game you play is recorded until I went by, because I was trying to record using DxTory and I forgot to do it for the first few games. And I was looking through the game and realised that a game that I'd done particularly well in had automatically been recorded. And I thought, this is excellent. It's a slick interface, easy to use, easy to get your videos out onto YouTube or to do live streaming and those kinds of things. And this is something that would really, really massively benefit Battlefield 4, getting fan-made videos out there. There's one particular machinima which is called Battlefield Crossover. Do a search for that in YouTube. And that was made partly with BF2 and partly with BF3, and the ease of use that the producers of that had with BF2 compared to BF3 is it's massive. BF3 is not a game designed for esports. Now, after some modding and some work, there are some communities that are now able to do a free cam and a third-person cam. For example, the Level BF community, when they have their tournaments on a Saturday, they quite often have live casting on that, and it's interesting to watch. But that's taken a dedicated community well over a year to get just to that point, where really I would hope it would be in there from the onset with Battlefield 4. Now, another thing I'd like to see is a return of an option for commander. I appreciate not everybody likes the idea of somebody having so much power over a game, because a bad commander can screw up the game just as thoroughly as a good commander can increase the quality of the game. So I'd very much like to see that come back as an option. If you want your server to have that option, you switch it on. If you don't want it to have that option, you switch it off. But give the option so that anybody who wants to play in that way can play that way. And also, when you've got the big 32 player tournaments, having a commander is such a benefit, because both sides have got commanders that know what they're doing. It really enhances the game. It enhances it if you're watching it as a spectator or later on YouTube. And to me, it makes it a much, much better game. Now, another thing as well is we currently do not have a community manager. If you've watched earlier digests or listened to earlier digests, you'll know that the community manager position and the whole ethos of community management is something which is very dear to my heart, and something which I hope when DICE hires this new guy or girl, that they give that person all of the benefit and backing and of everything that they're required to do a good job. Don't hamstring them like they did with Zinto. Let whoever takes that position do the job properly. If you look at, for example, Natural Selection 2, there's a guy called Hugh Jeremy. He is an excellent community manager. I've watched this guy, and he's got effectively no marketing budget. He was hired from Australia to work in the, I think it's the US where you are located, and all he basically does, he's got his brain, his mind, his voice, his videos, and he is so well known in the community, so embedded in the community. He does an amazing job, and DICE needs to lift the restrictions from their community managers and allow them to do something similar to what Hugh does. Let them get out there, let them support the communities and community in general, but also get this person hired, because as I said, we have not had a community manager now for what, 6 months. Who do we as a community talk to? Good question. It's something that I would very much like to see DICE resolve fairly quickly. And I know this isn't the first time that I've mentioned it, and it definitely ain't going to be the last time that I mention it until it gets sorted. And while we're on the topic of community management, it would be nice if DICE would just take the time to answer in an official capacity the feedback that the community has presented to them. Now, I've presented 2 sets of feedback, all of it based on community, and I've never had anything official back from DICE, and it would be nice, not just for me, but also for you, the people that put that feedback forward and put all those long forum posts together and sat down and thought of those ideas, to get some feedback, some honest feedback on the effort that you put in. And as soon as that community manager is in his post or her post, that's something I'm going to be badgering them about. Better believe it. We've had dynamic maps and dynamic lighting mentioned several times, and if you play PlanetSide 2, for example, you'll know that it's a day-night cycle. It's a beautiful thing to watch, and some of my most endearing memories are actually of PlanetSide 1. Playing that and defending a base through the nights when it's being attacked and then into the daytime. Absolutely beautiful thing to do, and a cracking game. Now, something like that I think would do well in Battlefield 4, but there's a little caveat I'd like to place on that. One of the maps that people hate the people hate the most in BF3 is Tehran Highway, and I think a large part of that is because it's kind of a dusky night map. In my experience, people ask for night maps. But in my experience, when people get night maps, they don't like them or they don't play them. Now again, this is a bit of a generalization, and I appreciate that. But it is something which I have witnessed myself, and it's something that also I've done myself as well. I'd rather have a day or day-ish map than a night map, partly because I like to be able to see. It's I've played in Arma 3 as well, actually, and Arma 3 does this quite well because its night vision actually looks very, very nice. And I'm hoping to get some Arma 3 footage up in the not too distant future. But I've never found a Battlefield game that's really done night maps very well, or at least well enough for people not to say, "I know it's a night map. I'll move to another server now." So it's one of those things I think that the community generally asks for, but actually very rarely wants. And I guess the most important thing, though, when we're talking about what certainly my hope for BF4 is, and what I guess a lot of your hopes for community for Battlefield 4 is as well, it's just simply the feel, the battlefield feel, that big open sandbox vehicles, infantry, air, commandos, artillery, all working together. That battlefield feel, bring that back. It's lacking in BF3, but DICE have shown that they can produce amazing magic games with the earlier incarnations of the Battlefield franchise. So the hope is that they bring back that Battlefield feel, and you'll know it. You have some amazing moments, or at least certainly some amazing moments playing the earlier franchises. If they can bring that back, all of those veterans and all of us that sit on Mordor HQ all day long writing forum posts berating people that have bought 2 copies of Battlefield 4, will flock back to the franchise. And if there's one thing that I know from real life as well as from gaming, it's that if you can provide if you've got an annoyed customer and you provide that customer with what they want, in fact, if you over provide, actually, if you give them more than what they're expecting, they turn almost into an evangelist for your products, and they will go out and tell all their friends about this superb product, this superb customer service. DICE have an opportunity of doing that with Battlefield 4, and I'm very much hoping that they take that opportunity. Which actually brings me on to the final point, which is Battlefield 3. It was mentioned to me many months ago, in fact a couple of years ago, that this person had been told that Battlefield 3 was effectively a tech demo of the Frostbite 2 engine. And we can see after Battlefield 3 several other games within manufactured by EA have or are using the Frostbite engine. And I've always felt that Battlefield 3 was an engine and then a game was added to it. What I'm hoping with Battlefield 4 is that they've built a game rather than built an engine. And I'm very much hoping that this comes out in the final product. And this is probably my greatest hope and my greatest source of hope for Battlefield 4, is that they've had the time to spend on the game, not the time spent on the engine itself. And if they've been able to do that, and if they've been able to bring a little bit of that pixie dust that they sprinkled on top of Battlefield 2 and 2142 and 1942 and those early games, if they can do that, they can make an amazing, superb game, which would not only give the more Twitch shooters what they're looking for, but people like myself, people like the veterans, what they're after as well. DICE certainly have it within their ability to do it. It's whether or not they want to do that. So those are my hopes for Battlefield 4. I'm still feeling positive, I have to say. I've heard murmurings and mutterings here and there, which are indicating that some good stuff might be coming, and I'm let's say cautiously optimistic. I certainly haven't bought the Battlefield 4 yet. I'm waiting for some multiplayer first, but I'm certainly edging on the side of looking to buy it as opposed from on the other side of definitely not buying it. But as I say, that's my position in terms of cautious optimism. Those are my hopes. My expectations, well, let's see. If I'm being honest, I think the gameplay that you just witnessed or are witnessing now on on Grand Bazaar is, I think we're going to probably see more of that in BF4. Although I certainly hope for a lot, I think my expectation is that we're possibly going to see more, certainly more dumbing down. I'd like to see Commander, but I don't think it's going to be in there. I'd like to see 6-man squads. I don't think it's going to be in there. I'd very much like to see demos and battle recorders and that kind of thing, which I'm... yeah, well, we may just get that, especially if they want to push out into the esports arena and get those YouTubers going as well. But I'm keeping my hopes high, but my expectations low. So at least if when Battlefield 4 comes out and it does not deliver, which I know there are a lot of people out there who have looked at their experience with BF3 and said, you know what, guys, you blew it with that. A lot of people are taking that attitude. I don't want to take that attitude, but there, in terms of expectations, I think it's an attitude which might very well be worth clinging on to for now. Certainly until we see some of the multiplayer. And I think, yes, you can dress it up, but if they can release half an hour of unadulterated multiplayer, so we can see the classes, we can see how the gameplay works, we can see some of the new whiz-bang features that they're going to have in there. DICE is a very technology-oriented company, and I believe that they're not going to release Battlefield 4 without some fairly major whiz-bang features in there. And I just hope that they put the same amount of love and care and attention into the actual gameplay and making it into a Battlefield experience than just something that Twitch users enjoy. Well, I'm going to leave that for now. Please let me know your comments on what you think. What are your hopes? Are they the same as your expectations for Battlefield 4? Are you thinking of buying it? Or are you just going to let it pass? Are you someone who's new to the franchise, only played BF3 and thinks it's the dog's bollocks? Or are you an older veteran of the older games and think, well, hey, BF3, no thank you. BF4, definitely no thank you. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you really like this video, feel free to hit that subscribe button. That's it for now. As always, thank you very, very much for taking the time to listen and to watch this video. Enjoy your gaming. Take care.
Enemy soldier spotted.